Hello all, Jamie Rodgers here from Craftmania, and today I'm bringing you our brand new die of the week for this week. Now this week we are looking at our first festive die of the week. We are looking at this incredible snowflake filigree frame by Sue Wilson. Now in here you actually receive 4 different dies. Now I'll take you through these in their sort of separate form in just a second, but very quickly you can possibly see you've got an outside edge, you've got a filigree panel, you've got another outside edge, and then you've got another filigree panel. So there's many ways in which you're going to be able to take this, cut this, layer this, leave it in your cardstock, take it out of your cardstock, cut matching layers to go beneath it. The list really is endless, and this is what we love about Sue Wilson dies. They open up so many possibilities from just one die set. Now your die set in question should be £12.99, but we actually have it better than half price this week. It is only £6. Now I know we're currently on that sort of bridging gap from April to May, and Christmas might feel like a million miles away, but if we're crafting for Christmas, we need to start early. And this die to me is great for our scrapbooking pages. So you might want to be scrapbooking Christmases gone by. You might also want to be getting ahead for your cards this year. I also think this one would make quite a nice tree decoration, as well as tags and different sort of pieces to go through the whole Christmas season. So it's not only about your cards, but of course it's going to come in great for those as well. Now your £6 also covers your P&P for UK delivery. So anytime you spend over £5 with Craftmania, it's completely free P&P. So this item being £6 obviously means you're going to qualify for free P&P. So you will have this sent to your door for just £6. Now, if you live anywhere else in the world and you would like to get your hands on this die, do not fear, we ship worldwide. Your shipping is capped at just £10. If you'd like to know more about international shipping, then check it out on our customer service tab on the website to find out more. The website is www.craftmaniacrafts.com if you've not been on there already. It has over 10,000 different items for you to have a little perusal of and maybe treat yourself to. Now, if you would like to find this week's die of the week, or look back at the previous dies of the week, or just have a look around in general at anything that you've seen on our YouTube videos, pop onto the website and find yourself the little YouTube tab. It will either be across the bar on a desktop, or it will be in the drop down menu on a mobile device. But where it says YouTube, give that a click and it will take you through, and you will see a different box for every video that we have uploaded this year. There's some great videos in there, lots of special offers. So if you haven't had a look through that little back catalogue, do go treat yourself. Make a cup of tea or coffee and go have a little sit and see some of our previous videos and have a look at some of the bundles and of course dies of the week. Now with this one, the first example I wanted to share with you, I'm going to show you lots of examples on our overhead because we can see them a bit clearer, but this one's a bit big and it isn't going to go underneath the camera too well. So we are looking at our gift tag. Now I have just taken this and I've joined it on the back here so that it's perfect to go around a nice bottle of wine or champagne or anything else that you might like to be giving. I also think, and this is something worth noting, with a snowflake, that sort of element, although we say Christmas, it could be New Year's Eve. This could be a lovely little New Year's Eve gift that you're giving to somebody if you're going to go to a party. Maybe you'd like to take a bottle with you, and that could be a nice finishing touch. There's nothing on it that says Christmas as such. It's just snowflakey to sort of obviously nod to the winter, which again is great because winter, especially here in the UK, never seems to end. So snowflakes might be applicable for a little bit more than just Christmas. Now the good bit with this die is it is symmetrical, so that means that we can put it back to back and actually create our tags on both sides. So on this side, I'm imagining you're going to write to your name of the person it's going to go to, mum, dad, friend, brother, sister, whatever you wish to add. And then on the reverse, you've got enough room by leaving out that sort of central filigree panel to actually write a little message or a little bit of thanks if you wish to. Now, of course, I mentioned that you could turn these into tree decorations. I feel possibly actually hanging them like this, maybe adding a little embellishment on the bottom could work really nicely. You've, of course, got that central frame element that you could put on the reverse as well, or you could leave it more open like this one here, or you could even, if you wanted to, cut through both of them and have this open with the snowflake hanging, or you could add your own hanging embellishment. So there's a separate piece in the middle to rotate and change. So lots and lots of ways if you want to make Christmas decorations, Christmas garlands, tags for your bottles, tags for your gifts, tags for your gift bags, that you're going to be able to use this die. But let's jump in and have a look actually at the die set and a few of the cards I've made to hopefully give you a bit more inspiration with this set. So the actual set is broke down into 4 different pieces. So that means we have our outside edge. Now, I love it when we get dies that have separate outside edges to our filigree panels because it just opens up more options for us. The first one meaning that we can cut backing plates to go behind this one, we've cut it out. So if you wish to show a different colour through from underneath, this is the die you're going to use on its own to cut out that colour to place behind the panel. It also means that because of this die doesn't have an outside edge attached to it, we can cut this into the front of our card or our cardstock and it will stay attached. It will stay in that card. Now that means we can multi-cut this if we wish to. We can make up our own backgrounds, we can make up our own patterns. It just gives us options. It also means that we can bring in the other separate dies that we've got to add more to this. So you might wish to bring in that oval, for instance, cut that into your cardstock, turn this actually into a photo frame and pop a photo behind it in an album or a journal or something similar. Now, of course, if you don't want the filigree to show through and see your photo from underneath that, then of course use these 2 pieces together to cut a matching backing plate to go underneath the filigree, leaving the middle open so you can put your photo in, have a nice colour shine through from that part there, but it still be left in your cardstock so that it's a nice picture flat in your book or your album so that you've got that ability. Of course, it means we can also cut this into the front of the card too. And again, we could cut an aperture in there if we wish to, so we could hang items if we want to, or we could leave it solid. Or of course, we can bring in our lovely little snowflake sort of oval as well and cut that into the middle. Now this one's very similar. It doesn't have an outside blade attached to it. It does have an inner blade attached to it. So it will cut this open with the snowflake inside it and these little rectangular pieces running around the edge of it. So again, this could be multi-cut into a cardstock. It could of course be cut into a page again. We could of course cut it and hang different alphabet letters in here to make up journals or names or different bits like that if we wish to. We can of course use the outside ring as well to cut that as a freestanding item. This again could make a lovely little matching tag. I love coordinating my gift bags or presents to the card that's also going to go to the same recipient. So possibly putting this together like so, with that in the middle, cutting that for the card, and then using this part as the tag, cutting that so it's open, and then cutting one of the solid ones, putting that behind it so that you've got somewhere to write the name or your message inside. Again, you could double side these ones and you could certainly add a ribbon to it if you wanted to. So many ways in which these 4 pieces are going to come in so handy throughout your crafting. And again, just something to note, we can use this both in portrait and landscape. There's no reason why we can't go in whichever orientation you would like to with this one to get the most value for money out of your die set. I just think this one is one I'm going to go for time after time. It's got so many uses, it's so pretty, and at only £6, it's incredible value. So let's show you a couple of the ways I've been using this one. So of course we've seen the one on the bottle that we had a little look at before. This is showing you a little bit actually of what we was just sort of rambling on about here, of using the dies, using the outside edge with the actual panel, popping in that middle part, not this oval, but the one with the snowflake in, and cutting this out for our top layer here. So that's open and we've got that little window. Then using just the backing plate to cut out of gold to put behind this one. And then on these 2 sides, I've taken this bit, cut that into the actual cardstock, left that in place and padded that on top of a sheet of gold so that the gold shines through. I've then taken this oval, so every element of this die has been used on this card, taken this oval, cut these in white cards, sent them for in an embossing folder and placed them back on the inserts of these ovals because I wanted these to have some sort of texture, some sort of busyness to them, but not so much that it detracted from the one in the middle, and I certainly didn't want them to all look exactly the same. So by actually embossing these panels using this matching oval, it just gives a point of difference and lets this part really sort of come to life and shine. So many ways in which you can use them, as this card shows just one sort of ideas of using them cut in or cut out. And of course, this time we've gone with the snowflake being at the bottom in a portrait fashion. So again, whether we wish to have that at the bottom or the top or the direction we wish to work in is completely up to us. Showing you our next card, this one is bringing in some 3D embossing folder around the outside, working on our gorgeous midnight blue pearl card. Brought in some silver mirror this time and a little sentiment to go in the middle just to coordinate it all together. So of course, great for adding in just short little sentiments in there. If we wanted a bigger one, we could of course left this oval out and just have been working on the solid all built up on top of it. But I felt this worked quite nicely. Then sticking to a similar idea, but showing you how the same folder can look completely different. We've got the folder, we've used the outside edge to cut out the center before embossing. Always cut before emboss, because if not, you're going to flatten your embossing. So I've cut that out of the panel, I've put it through the embossing folder to emboss it. I've then used some distress ink to colour it. On the next layer down, I've used the filigree panel and the oval to cut into some white cardstock, which I've then foam padded in between this layer and the layer of the blue card at the bottom. My season's greetings, I didn't want that to get lost, and I wanted to tie this shade of blue in again. So I've cut the oval once again, and I've placed that in there, coloured it the same colour as the embossing folder, and then just added the season's greetings on top. I often go on about this when I'm talking to you all on videos. Our ribbon is such incredible value, and I can't remember, I was going to write it down. I always say this, I always forget by the time I come to film the video. When I make the card, I'm like, I'm going to talk to you about ribbon, and then I get here and I've totally forgot to write it down. But our ribbon is such good value, and this one's got this beautiful little thread running through it, this little sparkly thread, and I'm going to show it to you again in a minute in another colour, in the brown. I'll give you a little sneaky at that one. And it comes in several shades, but it's just such incredible good value. And by good value, I mean it's something along the lines of £1.99 for 20 metres. It might even be cheaper than that, this one, or a better value, one is supposed to say. But have a look. It's on the same page. Check them out. Lots of ribbons on there. And there is a whole ribbon section as well, showing you even more ribbons and more ideas with ribbon. If you would like to see that, then go under, I think it's under haberdashery. Have a look under haberdashery. There'll be a ribbon tab. It will take you to all of our ribbons, but several of the ribbons will be on the page that we mentioned today under the YouTube tab. So this one's a bit of a bigger card. I've actually gone up to an 8x8. You don't have to. And we could have brought them middle points in and cut them over each other, because obviously we were going to cover them up with this panel here so nobody would see that. So at any time you want to, never be afraid to multi-cut over the center, because it's going to be hidden. So we could have really brought this card in quite a lot actually, maybe even as low as a 6x6 by just multi-cutting over that middle bit and leaving this to be the edge. We could have also cut in that direction, instead going around the sides, and had more sort of a daisy style to it instead of this sort of cross style, if you prefer. But once again, using this one, cutting it into the cardstock, of course using this one here with a snowflake as well, cutting that in, just moving it round to each corner to make up the background panel. Then the middle one, of course, is using the outside edge, leaving the middle solid, cutting a solid one in gold to place underneath it. Just a couple of flowers and leaves, little finishing touch here with the banner and the sentiment. Of course, all of this will be on the same page on the website, so you can see those. Then just a couple of simple cards for you, and we go back to our ribbon. This is another one of my favourites. This is our saddle stitch ribbon. So it's got this little stitch that runs through it in its opposite colour as such, or a different colour. They come in lots of different shades. There's a lovely white with red stitch and bits like that. There's a grey ribbon with white stitching. There's the white with the black edge as well. So lots of different options in this one. And again, silly value. They really are great ribbons, these. And one thing we don't often talk about is if you pull the stitch and you hold it, it will all gather. So if you wanted to at any point, you could gather it into a rosette maybe, or gather it up as a border. There's lots of ways you could use that ability, but if you don't want to, then of course, just as a little ribbon detail works really nicely. Now this die actually has these little slits in around the edge, so they're perfect for threading ribbon through and under, which is what I've done with this one. And then I've actually tied my bow around that top bit as a separate piece, just to gather that in, pull that in, and add a little bow on there, because I think everything always looks better with a bow. We've then got our die cut out of silver, backed with black card, a little dog. I love this. We also do cats as well, so if you're sat at home saying, I'm not a dog lover, I'm a cat lover, do not fear, there are cat dies as well. They're on the same page, so you can have a little look at them. I've just coloured mine with alcohol markers and layered him up on this little card here. In the background, I've used our lovely dotty embossing folder. This is a traditional folder. It's not a 3D one, but I love these little dots because I just think it fills in that void when sometimes you want something in the background, but you don't want anything too heavy. And then on to our last card. So this is, I've already shown you 5 of the projects, 6 with the tag. This is our 7th. This one, very easy to do. Again, just cutting into the layers, adding a die per time as such, really, to create this sort of tunnel effect. And then I've just padded them together. I've gone with quite high foam tape because I really wanted you to see the shadows that creates between the layers, but you could even stick them flat if you wanted to, or you could do different colours per layer. I've stamped around the edge with a script stamp. I've added on a little expression at the bottom, and I've coloured the piece of card at the base so it shines through and matches in with the stamping, and of course our banner or sentiment across the bottom. Now, I hope this has given you a little bit of inspiration on what you could be creating with this die. If you've got any questions, please let me know in the comments and I will do my very best to answer them for you. If you'd like to find any of the products we've been looking at, everything from the flowers to the leaves to the ribbon to the cardstock, have a little look on our YouTube section on the website, which again is www.craftmaniacrafts.com, and you will find all of them items in one place. Don't forget free P&P anytime you spend over £5 here at Craftmania for the UK recipients, and if you wish to have it posted to you anywhere in the world, then your international shipping is capped at just £10. Check out the customer service tab on the website to see how that works. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all again very soon with our next video, which will be coming this weekend hopefully, and then of course next week we'll have a brand new die of the week for you. But don't miss out on this one, grab it while we've got it, only £6. Thanks for watching, bye for now.